Hello, everybody. This is Gerald Salenti, and it's Thursday, February 5th, 2026. And woof, what a wild day in the markets. Again, as we were forecasting, we said that after the holidays, that's when you're going to start seeing things go down. And down they're going. But down they're going across the board, some of the board that we didn't see going down, just to make it clear. Woof! Bitcoin, Malone. As we're on the air, it's down 14.25% today, selling at $62,961, a fall of $10,500. That's a big, big decline. And gold, it's down $187 today. 4,776, but still up, from where it's been. It didn't hit its high. It's why $1,000 low, almost lower than its high, but still it's up there. But silver, took a whack. It's down today, $17.26, $70.82, but of course, way up from where it was a year ago. But this is real danger ahead. You're looking at the equity markets. The Dow is down nearly 600 points. The S&P lost 1.23%. NASDAQ down nearly 1.6%. And the Magnificent Seven ain't so magnificent. Across the board, numbers are down. And, the metals, Challenger and Gray came out today with their numbers. Layoffs in January were the highest to start a year since 2009. 2009. What was 2009? Oh, the Great Recession, which we had forecast, by the way. We took out the domain name, the Panic of '08 and 2007. That's a fact. You could look it up. Go to Google. So this is serious. And when you look at the numbers that they're coming out with, 108,435 layoffs for the month, up 118% from the same period a year ago, and 205% from December last year. We said things were going to get bad after the holidays. It's the same thing that happens during the summertime. Things go stale in the summer, and then when people, after Labor Day, it's reality hits again. That's why you see the markets crashing in October. And again, you go to your Trends Journal and you see week after week, month after month, year after year, we keep putting in the real job loss numbers and the business is going out of business. We're giving it to you every week. So subscribe to the Trends Journal. And if you subscribe for the year, you get 20%. You get 2 months free. And it's a grand total of $2.59 a week. Oh, what did Washington Post announced? They're firing a third of their employees. Journalism's dead. Dead. We're giving you what nobody else is giving you in a magazine. So please support us because we're supporting you. Subscribe to the Trends Journal. What else? Initial job claims for the week ending January 31st totaled a seasonally adjusted 231,000, the highest since December. Yep. Again, this is Challenger and Gray's numbers. So this is serious stuff. Meanwhile, Brent crude went down about $2 a barrel because they say that the United States and Iran agreed to have talks in Oman tomorrow. This is the same thing they said they were going to get ready for talks the last time, and the United States bombed Iran. So we're going to have to see what happens there. If they bomb Iran, you're going to see oil prices skyrocket, gold prices skyrocket, silver prices skyrocket. It'll be a skyrocketing time. What else we got here? Going back to why you're seeing the precious metals and Bitcoin going down, because a lot of people are gambling. And they're playing the futures markets. And as we wrote in your economic update on Tuesday, CME Group, this is Financial Times, the world's largest operator of derivatives exchanges, on Friday said it would raise margin requirements on gold and silver futures following a steep fall in prices. Investors said the drops in precious metal prices were being accentuated by tougher margin requirements and the unwinding of the borrowing that had driven the record rally, end quote. So then we come in and say, as the betting scheme goes, those who borrowed money to take speculative positions on precious metals were hit hard by the margin calls that forced them to sell the precious metal assets to raise cash. And that's why you're seeing these cryptos going down. They need the cash. Again, you're seeing the equity markets going down. This is serious stuff. It's serious. And what does that mean? Now the bet is when the Fed heads meet again, they're going to lower interest rates. The lower interest rates go, the deeper the dollar falls. The deeper the dollar falls, the higher gold prices go. And again, as bad as things are, what did Trump say a couple of weeks ago? I'm going to tell you what he said a couple of weeks ago. But first, you got to hit that like button and subscribe to our videos because we're getting blacklisted. And I find that racist to call it blacklisted. I'm being whitelisted. No, you're just a guinea. You're a guinea. You're half in between. All right? Anyway, so please do what you can to help us because we're doing everything we can to help you. And we're out there for the truth. So anyway, you go back a little less than a month ago, Trump said, this is the greatest first year in history. This is as Americans are expressing their cost of living going up. Because, according to Reuters, the number of Americans filing new applications for unemployment benefits increased more than expected last week. Yep. The people are unhappy. You're looking at the numbers coming out, the latest polls. Trump's ratings are going down. They're saying the economy is going lousy, but he says that it was, the greatest. Will go down as the greatest first year in the history that nobody has ever had, just based on the numbers. And as we used to say in the Bronx, bullshit has its own sound, and what Trump is saying is nothing more than,
oh, come on now, that ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
Want to hear more horse shit? Remember, it's not horse shit. It's not bullshit. You got to get rid of those words. The new word is Trump shit. You ready? Trump, they go on to say in this article, it's from The Guardian, Trump deflected responsibility for economic challenges to his predecessor, Joe Biden. Quote, we inherited terrible growth and we inherited the worst inflation in the history of the country. A total lie. It was not the worst. It's not even close. You go back to the numbers and it's not the worst. So 1919 to 1920, inflation went up 23.7%. 1947, right after the war, up 20.1%. 1980, and I remember those days, consumer prices went up nearly 15%, 14.8%. 2022, latest peak, 9.1%. So no, total bullshit. It wasn't and to make this 1,000% clear, that nobody talks about is Trump is responsible for the spiking inflation when he locked down the country on Black Friday. That's right, March 13th, 2020, called a state of emergency, and then dumped in all that cheap money and lowered interest rates. Oh, Biden kept it going, by the way. But Trump was the cat that started it. So it's nothing more than bullshit. But if you come out against it, people, boy, they go, with the Trump fans. How dare you say that about Trump? So moving on. This is Reuters today. Gold is set for another record performance in 2026. You ready? Poll of 30 analysts. They say it's going to be $4,746 by the end of 2026. We see 6,000. Last year, the same people, they said it would hit $2,700. It was way beyond that. Yep. And again, that's what they're saying. A moon day to cut U.S. exposure amid fears of Trump policy. Europe's largest asset manager, Amundi, is reducing its exposure to U.S. dollar assets. This is Financial Times. They have $2.4 trillion in assets. And what they say? Initially, to protect themselves against the fall of the dollar over the past year by buying gold. They're pulling out of the dollar. It's the death of the dollar. And by the way, it's the cover of your Trends Journal right there. You got it? You got it? This is today's Financial Times. That was Tuesday's cover of the Trends Journal. This is an article in the Wall Street Journal. Luxury comeback in China isn't likely. Yep. The Chinese share of global luxury spending dropped to 23% last year. It was way higher before that. Yep. Last year, U.S. shoppers generated blah, 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 blah. So the deal is that they're going broke. Home values, which make up 60% of household wealth in China, they go on property crash, has wiped out 2/5 of the value since 2021. Prices of existing homes fell just last year, fell 6%. So there you got it. Chinese went from barely being a luxury brand's radar in early 2000s, and that's when Bill Clinton brought them in 25 years ago, to generating 35% of the luxury industry's global sales by 2019. And now it's down to 20. Again, they locked down the country, 3 years of zero COVID policy. They destroyed it. And it's global. It's global. U.S. manufacturing in retreat. Wait a minute. Trump said it was going to go up. Well, that's according to the Wall Street Journal. And then the bigs keep getting bigger. Santander eyes buying U.S. heft by buying Webster Bank for $12.2 billion. Consolidation wave as Texas Instruments agrees to buy Silicon Labs for $7.5 billion. Zurich agrees $8 billion takeover for UK insurer Beasley. Yep. Eldorado Gold plans to buy Forum Mining for nearly $3 billion. Brookfield to buy industrial REIT Peakstone at $1.2 billion. And then the big news was the other day, Walmart joins tech giant Select Club as market value passes a $1 trillion mark. I'm mentioning this because the bigs keep getting bigger. It's one of your top trends for 2026. Off with their heads 2.0 and Gen Z revolution. The people are going broke as everybody else is getting richer. The facts are all there. Again, when I was a young man, there were hardware stores, grocery stores, drug stores, shoe stores, clothing stores, fish stores, on, stores, mom and pops. All gone. Not all gone, mostly gone. The bigs have taken over everything. We got Lowe's, we got the Home Depot, we got Staples. Yeah, we got Walmart. We got shit. Here he is. Trump's disapproval on economy hits new highs, according to the survey released today. Found that 36% of respondents approve of Trump's handling of the economy, and 59%, nearly 60%, disapprove. And the president's sweeping tariff has also resulted in firms passing on additional costs to consumers, according to the Kiel Institute of the World Economy, estimating that Americans bore 96% of the costs incurred by the levels. And again, as I said, I'm in favor of tariffs. They did away with our country when they sent our manufacturing overseas. Bill Clinton, Slick Willie. Yep, did that T-shirt when he ran for president in 2026. And by the way, 2020, excuse me, 1992. What am I talking about? Talking about 2026. Here's a T-shirt you can get now when you go to shop. Yep. Hey, politicians, who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? Because you got all of them in a country near you. Of course, you get this too, shop. So, moving on. Again, 12 months ago, Joe Biden handed us a mess, the president said last month in Iowa. But today, just after 1 year, President Trump says our economy is booming. Again, it's not.
Warning, bullshit alert.
It's Trump shit. Netanyahu to demand Washington take hard line on Tehran. This is the Financial Times yesterday. So this is Thursday. They're supposed to be meeting tomorrow. Will they say something like, well, they wouldn't agree to anything, so it's bombs away? If they attack Iran, it'll be on the weekend, just like they did it the last time when the equity markets were closed, just like they did it when he kidnapped Maduro, the president of Venezuela, and his wife. They did it on the weekend. Yep. Israel is demanding from the U.S. that an agreement with Iran include removing enriched uranium from the country, stopping uranium enrichment, limiting the production of ballistic missiles, and stopping support for regional proxies, said a person familiar with Israeli government. Otherwise, Israel supports an attack to overthrow the regime. Oh, what regime are you talking about? How about your regime? Yep. Iran has said they would be willing to negotiate only on the nuclear program and even then have consistently rejected U.S. demands to end all uranium enrichment. So there you go. Hey, Israel air attacks on Lebanon reach highest level since ceasefire. This is according to the Norwegian Refugee Council. Why, those anti-Semites? Yep. 50 airstrikes Israel carried out in Lebanon last month. Hardly reported. Yep. They replaced 64,000 people in Lebanon have been pushed out of their homes. 64,000. Yep. One after another. Hardly reported. Nobody cares. Kill all they want. What else we got here? Oh, the United States, yeah. Bringing democracy and freedom to the other countries. This is from the Financial Times. Attacks on citizens filming ICE in action spur First Amendment fight. You're not allowed to film them, all right? That's what they're saying. What First Amendment? We lost all our amendments. Pentagon defends limits on access by news media. Yep. And to show you that the country is run by the rich, again, what's one of your covers of your Trends Journal? According to this cat, Mussolini, it's fascism. the merger of state and corporate powers. It's right there in front of your eyes. It's happening. So now Trump and allies raise $420 million from donors ahead of midterm elections. What elections? Not elections. It's a rigged game. It's a political gang. No money, no chance of winning. Yep. And what else? Billionaire investor Ken Griffin has accused members of the Trump administration of enriching their families. Yep. In a rare rebuke by a prominent Wall Street figure and big Republican donor. Big Republican donor, billionaires, and this is the only way it goes. Yep. Trump and his family members have profited since he took office last year. An FT investigation in October found the president rapidly growing cryptocurrency empire had already reaped more than $1 billion in pre-tax profits over the prior year, attributed in part to a digital currency boom buoyed by the White House's own crypto-friendly policies. Companies backed by Trump's sons have been awarded contracts with government agencies and benefited from administration policies on cryptocurrencies and prediction markets. Family and other administrative members, including Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and U.S. Envoy Steve Witkoff, Jerkoff, Lutnick, Skutnick, Dicknick, Pricknick, have also benefited. But now, boy, with this thing going down like this, we thought it would have stayed up with the Trump team in. And on to some other news. Psychotic disorder diagnosis rising among teens and young adults, study finds. People aged 14 to 20 today are being diagnosed with psychotic disorders, according to a large study from Ontario that reviewed 30 years of data. They go on to say that over the past 30 years, more than 152,000 people were diagnosed with psychotic disorders. The study found that diagnosis rates among people aged 14 to 20 rose by 60%. By the age of 20, about 1 in 180 people born between 2000 and 2004 have been diagnosed with psychotic disorder. This is more than twice the rate seen among people born in the late 1970s at the same age. People born in the late 1970s were diagnosed at the average age. Again, you go back. Why were the numbers so low back in the 1970s? And why are they so high now? The COVID war that forced, I'm a kid, come home from school. Ma, I'm going out. My mother would make sure, rest in peace, make sure you're home at 6 o'clock. That was my generation. We go out and play. You had to be home to eat. Not everybody, but that was mine. I had to be home to eat at 6 o'clock. That's when we all sat around the table and ate. My father got back from work. May he rest in peace. Now, the kids were forced to stay home for how many years? Can't go out and play. They're all fucked up and high-tech addicted. Matter of fact, it's one of your top trends for 2026. Tech-itis. It's right there. And now you're seeing the facts. The study just came out about how young people aren't going out dancing anymore. They get a couple of women get out there, dance a little bit on their phone, but when they stop, then most people are on their phones. It's a whole different world. Tech-itis. Again, they got it wrong in the King James Bible when they said the meek shall inherit the earth. The geeks have inherited the earth. And please watch the interview I did yesterday with Judge Andrew Napolitano. Very important. And so we're in very dangerous times here. Again, I would not have thought that the cryptos would have gone down this far, that silver would have gone down this far. Gold, yes. But is the market crash coming? It may be sooner rather than later. So stay tuned and subscribe to the Trends Journal if you want history before it happens. Thank you.